Okay guys, in this video we're going to show you how to change your Depower rope for the 2015 Undertow bar. This is the new Depower rope kit that we have available on the website. So the tools we're going to need to perform this job are a thin piece of line, a very small screwdriver, a centre punch or another like pointy type tool that you'll use as a centre punch, and either a hammer or, in our case, because we're in Fiji, we're using some coral. Okay, so the first step is going to be removing the stainless steel safety ring from the quick release unit on the chicken loop there. So basically all we need to do is get our little screwdriver, just slip that in there and just loosen that up. Okay, and then we're just going to slide the edge of that loop over the edge of the ring, and now just put that to the side for later use. At this point we need to get our little thin line and connect that to the safety line, the safety bungee, and we're going to pull that through the quick release system. Okay, just make sure that's tight enough that it's not actually going to pull off. Alright, so now we can just gently pull that through, ensuring that some line stays below the unit and obviously some line is above the unit as well, because we're going to need that to pull the safety bungee back through again. So when you're replacing the Depower rope, you start from the bottom of the bar, work your way up, and then you go from the top of the bar all the way back down again. Okay, so we're just going to remove that. Okay, so beautiful, just making sure that rope stays in position like so. Okay, so now we take our safety bungee, we're going to pull it through the bar. Okay, just pop that to the side for the moment. Okay, now at this step, we need to actually remove the pins out of the swivel on the quick release unit, and that's where our punch and coral is going to come in handy. You notice you've got one pin on one side, and you've got another pin on the other side, and they just simply tap out. Go, a couple of good taps. Spin it around the other side. Oops, got my finger there. Okay, just make sure that one is tapped through as well. There we go. And that cap's just going to loosen off like so. Okay. Once you've got that cap off, you can see that the rope, the Depower rope, just sits around these two lugs or ears. So you just need to just gently take those off. Use a screwdriver if you like, just to get in there for a little bit of leverage. There we go. Off that comes. Beautiful. Okay, just pull that line back through the top of the cap. You're going to pull that line through there as well. Okay, so now at this point we're going to pull the old Depower rope. This one's actually pretty good, but if it's your old one, you're going to pull it back through the bar. Okay, all the way through, taking that cap off, leaving it there. Okay, so now we're going to go to the what we call the bit. And at the bit, you've got one of your front line connections. We need to remove that front line connection, and that's where your little screwdriver is going to come in handy. Little screwdriver, pop him under there, and just loosen that connection. Go. Just being careful not to damage any of the line. There we go, that's coming through now. Okay, so now what we need to do is actually feed this front line completely back through the loop of that connection point and remove that line. Just pull that line all the way through until the line is completely through that loop. Just pull that all the way through like so, and then just pull that back through, and that's completely disconnected from the bit now. Okay, so the next step's going to be removing the safety bungee from the other front line. Again, just use your little screwdriver if it's quite tight, just loosen that point up and just remove the safety bungee, just like so. Okay, so once you've done that, you can then pull the other front line back through the bit, like so, and just put that to the side for the time being. And now you've actually completely removed your Depower rope system, your old one, ready for installing the new one. So we'll put that one to the side. Okay, so now we're going to put our brand new Depower rope back on our bar. So the first step is to feed the PU through the centre of the bar, like so. Okay, so your pins that hold the Depower cap in are more than likely going to be still sitting in there, and you just want to pop those through, just like so. There we go, and that's out. Okay, so now we're going to put our Depower rope through the quick release housing cap. Just pop it through, like so, and just slide that up a little bit. Okay, now just feed this line through that loop for a second. Okay, and now we're going to put this loop over these little metal ears. And that will just slide over like so. Okay, so they're completely around, and just centre that tube there a little bit too. Okay, so now the cap's going to come down. And again, we're just going to need to slide this rope through that hole, because that's where the safety bungee is going to come through. All right, and that cap can go back down over the top of the ears and just lining up those two holes. Okay, that's where you're going to need your pins again. You can see one end of the pin is a little bit pointier and one end just has some rough edges on it. The pointy end is the end that's going in first. Okay, so we're going to pop him in. Just try and line that up as best you can. Grab your hammer or your coral, whatever you got. Just line that up and just tap that in. Rotate that around, just keeping it all nice and steady. Grab your second pin, and that just taps in as well. Beautiful. Okay, so now that that step is complete, the next step is to connect one of your front lines to the fixed part of the bit. Okay, so now we're going to pull the front line through the fixed connection point on the bit, and I do find it easy to do that using a little bit of thin line again. So just feed your thin line through there. For this one, you don't really need to tie a knot. You can just loop it through and then push the other end of the line through as well, and then just pull that through. Okay, so you can see that's come through. Take your spare bit of line out, and now we need to go to the very end of this front line, and we're going to feed it through the loop and then tighten it on. Front line connection, send it through the loop, and then just feed that completely on, like so, and just pull it nice and tight, and that's one front line is connected. Okay, now for this other front line, we've actually got to pull that through this hole on the bit, and then we're going to join safety bungee at this end, and that will sit snugly inside that little hole there to make sure that the both front lines are even and that doesn't pull through. Okay, so we need to get our other front line. Okay, so we're going to use our thin line again so we can feed this through. So grab your thin line, feed that through the small hole on the bit, like so. Okay, once again, feed through the loop on the front line, and then push through. If you've got thin enough line, you can push this line through also. And that way you don't actually have to create a knot there. Okay, so now holding both ends of the line, the thin line, we need to pull this all the way through. There we go, and that's come through. Now we get our safety bungee, nice and simple, and we're going to feed that through the front line, get the other end of the safety bungee, and just pull it through the loop. Just tighten that, and then you can pull the front line back, and so that connection point will actually sit just inside there, and that will make sure that both front lines are equal and your bar will be tuned perfectly. Okay, so now your safety bungee Goes back through the centre of the bar, like so. Connecting up to this little line that we've left through the quick release housing. We do have to tie this one on because it's a little bit further to go through that hole. So it's just a little bit easier just to tie that on, like so. Maybe do a second knot just to be sure. Just don't tighten it too much. And then we're going to pull that one through. Lovely, comes out the other side. Then we can take off this thin line. And then we're going to connect our stainless steel safety ring. There we go, that's one knot done, 2 knots done. Okay, grab our safety ring. Once again, the loop goes through the centre of the safety ring, and then just push with your 2 thumbs around the outside of the ring, pull tight. Okay, so now that you've got the safety ring reinstalled, you've actually completed the full installation of the new Depower system for the 2015 BWSurf Undertow bar.